Hi, kindergarten. Are you guys ready for work time? Okay, it's Wednesday, and on Wednesdays, we have a letter of the week because we're running out. We only have Y and then U. On Wednesdays, we do word books. That's right. I have my word book here. And what's our letter of the week? That's right, it's Y, okay? Where's Y in the alphabet? At the back. So I'm going to turn my book over, and I'm going to start from the back. Oh, I have a Z. One more page. Here we go. Kindergarten, our words today are yellow, yolk, and yak. Okay? So yellow. Don't forget the Y is going to go like this and then go below the line because it is a worm letter. That's right. 1, 2, yolk. Kick it in, kick it out. And a yak. Mrs. Castellano is worried about her yak because we know that Mrs. Castellano was not gifted with the ability to make animals very well. But I will try my best, right? Because all art. So yellow. So I'm just going to take my yellow and I'm going to color my box in. All right, that's good enough. Okay. So kindergarten, it's hard to do white for a yolk. So I'm just going to take my black out. And I'm going to draw like an egg shape. An egg shape can be any shape because we never know how it's going to go. And then I'm going to put my yolk, which is a circle, in the middle. And then I can just take my pencil and go like this. And make a little arrow. Oh, there's my yolk. Okay, are you guys ready for Mrs. Castellano's yak? Do you guys know what a yak looks like? A yak is like a big, brown, hairy animal. With long horns. Okay. So Mrs. Castellano is going to start with the body of the yak and then add the head. So I'm using shapes first. Give him some legs. Next tail. I told you, Mrs. Castellano. Okay, yak. And some eyes, some big horns. We'll make the yak smiling. And they're hairy. Okay, that's Mrs. Castellano's yak. Okay. It doesn't really look like that. Maybe you want to Google what a yak looks like, kindergarten. Okay, so we're going to move on from Mrs. Castellano's yak. We have yarn, yawn. Ooh, this looks like it should look like a what? Ice cream. But what is this word over here? It was in our Y book. Frozen what? If you went to like red mango or 21 or 16 handles, what would you get? You'd get frozen yogurt. That's right. And here is a yo-yo. Okay, so your best coloring, your kindergarten coloring. I know you guys are all super duper colorers right now, so keep up the good work. Okay, and in math today, we are doing page 151. So I'm going to grab a bunch. Oh, I'm at 87. Keep going. I don't want to be here all day just looking at pages. We got to work smarter, not harder, right? Okay, kindergarten, page 151. We did 150 yesterday. We're doing 151. So here, we're going to be circling the groups of 10, and then we're going to count. So I'm going to make sure there's 10 in one of these triangle shapes. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's right. There's 10 there. So I think it's safe to assume that if there's 10 here, there's also 10 here. So I'm going to put a circle around it. I'm going to put, well, it's kind of like a triangle circle, isn't it, kindergarten? I'm going to assume that there's 10 in here. I'm going to assume that there's 10 in here, and 10 in here, and 10 in here, and 10 in here. So now I'm going to count how many groups of 10s I have. Are you ready? Can you count with me? 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups, 6 groups, 7 groups, 8 groups. I have 8 groups of 10. How many ones do I have, kindergarten? That's right, I have 1. So what number does that make? What number is that? 81. Okay, kindergarten, see if you can do this down here. So first count, circle the groups of 10. Be careful, there's not 10 there. Circle the groups of 10. Count how many groups you have. Put it here. Count how many ones you have. Right? Just like on the abacus, when we do a line of beads, that's 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, right? 80. Okay, kindergarten, that's what we're doing in math today. But you know what we have to do now. Oh, and don't forget to sign in with your new sight words. Not or what. Okay? And if you have a sentence you want to send it to me, I would love to read it. And I don't have to say it out loud. If you just want to send me your sentence so I can see it, I don't have to read it out loud. Just tell mommy or daddy, say, I want to show Mrs. Castellano my sentence, but I don't want her to read it out loud to the class. And that's totally fine, kindergarten, okay? So if that's a fear you have, just let me know and I won't share it. I promise. Okay, ready? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Let's see where we left off. So, when we left off, in the last chapter, who did Mr. Fox meet? Do you remember? That's right. He met Badger, right? Where's Badger? Badger's right here. He met Badger. Right? And Badger said, all of us diggers are hungry. We're all hungry because we can't get out. And Mr. Fox said, this is all my fault. It's all my fault because they wanted me. But don't worry about it because I found chickens. And if you go, and when he said to the little badger, he goes, go tell your mom to go with Mrs. Fox and we're going to have a great big feast. But first, I have to do a couple more things. So, remember, Mrs. Fox was back at their den, I guess, or back at the hole, and she was like preparing the chickens. Okay, that was chapter 12, right? Badger was chapter 12. Chapter 13, Bunce's giant storehouse. Do you remember what Farmer Bunce had? Let's find out. My dear Foxy, cried Badger, what in the world has happened to your tail? Oh, don't talk about it, please, said Mr. Fox. It's a painful subject. That's kindergarten. That's funny because it's probably painful. It probably hurts. But it also hurts his pride to talk about it. So that's a funny line. It's a painful subject because it means two different things. They were digging the new tunnel. They dug in silence. Badger was a great digger, and the tunnel went forward at a terrific pace. Now, and he was leading a paw. Soon they were crouching under yet another wooden floor. Mr. Fox grinned shyly, showing sharp teeth. I'm not mistaken, my dear Badger, he said. We are now underneath the farm which belongs to the nasty pot-bellied dwarf Bunce. We are, in fact, directly under the most interesting part of the farm. Ducks and geese? Cried small foxes, licking their lips. Juicy, tender ducks and big, fat geese. Exactly, said Mr. Fox. But how in the world can you know where we are? Asked Badger. Mr. Fox grinned again, showing even more white teeth. Look, he said, I know my way around these farms blindfolded. For me, it's just as easy below ground as it is above. He reached high and pushed on the wooden floorboards. Then another. He poked his head up through the gap. Yes, he shouted, jumping up in the room above. I've done it again. I've hit it smack on the nose, right on the bullseye. Come on, look. And so there you'll see Mr. Fox, Badger, and three little foxes. Look at the tunnel. It's very impressive. You'll also notice how the artist used shading to look like it goes on and on and on, right? Because an illustrator is an artist too. Quickly, Badger and the three small foxes scrambled up after him. They stopped and stared. They stood and gasped. They were so overwhelmed they couldn't speak, for what they now saw was the kind of fox's dream, a badger's dream, a paradise for hungry animals. This, my dear old Badger, proclaimed Mr. Fox, is Bunce's mighty storehouse. All his finest stuff is stored in here before he sends it to the market. Against all four walls of the great room, stacked in cupboards and piled high upon shelves reaching from floor to ceiling, were thousands and thousands of the finest and fattest ducks and geese, plucked and ready for roasting. And up above, dangling from the rafters, there must have been at least 100 smoked hams and 50 sides of bacon. Just feast your eyes on that, cried Mr. Fox, dancing up and down. What do you think of it, eh? Pretty good grub. Here's a picture of kindergarten. So you can see the hams and bacon hanging here, and then all these ready for roasting ducks and chickens. Suddenly, as though springs had been released in their legs, the 3 hungry small foxes and ravished hungry badger sprang forward to grab the luscious food. Stop! Ordered Mr. Fox. This is my party, so I shall do the choosing. The others fell back, licking their chops. Mr. Fox began prowling around the storehouse, explaining the glorious display with expert eyes. A thread of saliva slid down the side of his jaw. Do you know what saliva is, kindergarten? Yeah, it's like the stuff in your mouth, right? It's the liquid that we swallow, called saliva. It slid down his jaw and hung suspended in midair, then snapped. We mustn't overdo it, he said. Mustn't give the game away. Mustn't let them know that what we've been up to. We must be neat and tidy and just take a few morsels. So, to start, we shall have 4 plump young ducks. And he took them from the shelf. Oh, how lovely and fat they are. No wonder Bunce has a special price for all of them on the market. All right, Badger, lend me your hand and get me down. The children can help as well. There we go. Goodness me, look at how your mouths are watering. And now, I think we better have a few geese. 3 will be quite enough. We'll take the biggest. Oh my, you've never seen a finer geese than these in all the king's kitchens. Gently does it, that's the way. And what about a couple nice smoked hams? I adore smoked hams. Don't you, Badger? Fetch me the stepladder, will you please? Mr. Fox climbed up the ladder and handed 3 magnificent hams. And do you guys like bacon, Badger? I'm mad about bacon, cried Badger, dancing with excitement. Let's have a side of bacon. That's a big one up there. And carrots, Dad. And carrots, Dad, said the smallest of the 3 small foxes. We must take some carrots. Don't be a twerp, said Mrs. Fox. You know we never eat we never eat things like that. It's not for us, Dad. It's for the rabbits. They only eat vegetables. Kindergarten, do you remember what someone's called that only eats vegetables? Right, an herbivore, right? And we know that about rabbits. My goodness me, you're right, cried Mr. Fox. What a wonderful little fellow you are. Take 10 bunches of carrots. Oh, the rabbits are going to be so excited. And here's a picture of kindergarten. I was very thoughtful of the little fox to think of the rabbits, right? Soon, all this lovely loot was lying in a neat heap upon the floor. The small foxes crouched close, their noses twitching, their eyes shining like stars. And now, said Mr. Fox, we shall have to borrow from our friend Bunce 2 of those useful push carts over in the corner. He and Mr. Badger fetched the push carts, and the ducks and the geese and the ham and the bacon were loaded on them. Quickly, the push carts were lowered through the hole in the floor. The animals slid down after them. Back in the tunnel, Mr. Fox again pulled the floorboards very carefully into place so that no one could see they had been moved. Very, very smart. My darlings, he said, pointing to the 2 of the 3 small foxes, take a cart each and run back as fast as you can to your mother. Give her my love and tell her we're having guests for dinner. The badgers, the moles, the rabbits, and the weasels. Tell her it must be a truly great feast. And tell her the rest of us will be home as soon as we've done one more little job. Ooh, now I'm wondering, what are they going to do next? Do you guys have any ideas? Yes, Dad. Right away, Dad, they answered, and they grabbed a trolley, each and went rushing off down the tunnel. What do you think, kindergarten? Would you like to be invited to that feast? Oh, and that's the end of the chapter. Our next chapter is 14, and it's called Badger Has Dotes. Do you guys know what a dote means? I'm not sure. Do you dote something? I wonder what's going to happen next. Do you guys know this story? Okay, kindergarten. I will see you tomorrow for Thinking Thursday. Okay, bye.